¡Viva México, cabrones!
Welcome to New Day with SSJ on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
Spartans! What is your profession? Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
It's time!
New Day with SSJ is presented by Walker Medical Linen Services, locally owned and operated, and HLAC certified to the highest standards. Walker has partnerships with hospitals, surgery centers, and medical clinics in and around the metro area. Walker Medical Linen Services in Kansas City and online at walkermls.com.
Chiefs. And here is a little play action, and under pressure, Mahomes fires it over the middle, and it is caught out across the 40-yard line.
I want to see the entire defense is really committed to playing simple football. They play a lot of man-to-man. This is a great test. Man-to-man coverage. See Buster Brown right in the hip pocket. Hollywood Brown makes a catch, just about finishing.
Looking efficient as they almost always do. Rolling right, a little dump off. Guess who? Kelsey moves back to the inside, and he is caught after a pickup of about 6 yards. Who has been such a key part of their Super Bowl teams. This one is effortless. Right up and through. And the Chiefs march down the field and put 3 on the board. Here's the handoff to Carson Steele, the fullback. And he just charges his way through that defense for a first down. 9 plays and 62 yards to have a first down just outside the 20. And there's Steele, and the fullback once again is like a charging bull. Steele, the fullback, in motion to the right side. And here's the handoff, and Steele powers his way in for the touchdown. Jaguars grab a preseason win to kick off the exhibition season. Here at Everbank Stadium in Jacksonville, they top the Kansas City Chiefs 26-13.
As far as the injuries go, Hollywood Brown kind of has that same thing that Tyreek had down here, actually. Sternoclavicular post dislocation. They've taken him to the hospital. They'll check him out, and they're working on that as we speak. And then McCade he hurt his left knee, so they'll evaluate that in the next day or so here. Other than that, I think everybody else made it out okay. Wanye didn't play, but we had talked about his injury there. So there were some good things, and there were some things we need to work on in this game. I mean, the obvious is we'll clean up the special teams and what took place there, put the defense, kind of compromise their first series there by putting them into a short field. I thought the offense did some nice things. I mean, normally we'll catch that ball that was a little bit low there and complete that and keep the drive going. But, so things to work on, but there were also some positive things throughout. I thought Hicks and Steele played well. Those two you kind of look at and go, all right, they jumped out a little bit, right?
The Kansas City Royals.
Slice through the hole, base hit Freddie. This game is tied at 2. Freddie clutch.
96, 97 miles an hour. That's Palante's run. He wants to sacrifice him, anything to do it.
Opposite field stroke again, and a beauty into right field. Yeah! Isbell's around third. Pham bobbles the ball, and the Royals take the lead. Michael Garcia delivers an RBI single, and it's 3-2 in the bottom of the 7th. In the air, deep right center. Nootbaar to the track. Nootbaar to the wall. It's off the top of the fence. Garcia's around third. Wentz flying. He's got an RBI triple. The Royals at a run. It's 4-2.
There you go.
Deep to right center. Pham to the track. At the fence. It's out of here. 2-run shot. Salvador Perez. The Royals Royals extend their lead. And they are ready to chant for Bobby Witt Jr. Into center, a base hit. Isbell scores. And the MVP chants can start again. So now nearly 37,000 on their feet. On the ground at first. Salvi's there. Royals win. They beat the Cardinals 8-3 and take the I-70 series in 2024.
It's a special day. I don't know how long it's felt like forever, but you've had an incredible career, a lot still to go. Tell me about tonight and that home run and this win.
Pretty good. You know, every time we win, it's amazing, especially in the way we are right now. You know, we want to make it to the playoff. And it was a great win tonight.
Good morning, Kansas City. This is New Day with SSJ on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Thank you so much for joining us. Stephen St. John and Nate Bukaty with Jake Gutierrez. It's Monday. Is it really? Is it August 12th? I went for a while not knowing what day or what date it was, and that was pretty cool. May not sound cool, but it was really cool. Thank you for being here today, Nate.
It's good to be here.
Let me tell you something. You are much needed and much appreciated. We were just having this discussion in the during the intro.
That's not something I'm used to hearing, by the way.
Look,
in my life,
I'm just gonna be honest with you. I don't hold much back on this show. We were on vacation in Minnesota. We had a fabulous vacation. We had a checklist of things we wanted to do in a short amount of time. And we never get to all of them when we go out of town. We just don't. We come up short because there's not enough time. We did everything. We did everything we wanted to do. And I'll be honest with you, it got to the point at the end where it was like, this is taking a lot out of me. And I didn't want.
Yeah.
Susan kind of knew. I didn't want the kids to know.
Mm-hmm.
Kids, Phil's 21. Ooh. And
that's still a kid.
You're right. And the girls, but it took a lot out of me physically and mentally, but I wanted to do, and financially.
Yeah.
But I wanted to do everything that I promised them that we do.
Yeah.
But it got to the end, and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I don't. When I woke up Thursday to pack and leave town, I'm thinking, I thought I was just worn. I'm worn down. This wore me out.
Yeah.
Because it started Sunday night. This whole thing started because I was taking Julia to a concert.
Right.
She wanted to go see a wonderful singer-songwriter named Faye Webster, who made her debut on Kimmel about a month ago, so she's now starting to make it big, right? And she's a lot more popular now than she was when we bought the tickets 6 months ago. And she wasn't coming anywhere around here, and I made a deal with her for Christmas. I'd buy her tickets if she could find some place that we could drive to reasonable. St. Paul, Minnesota was the deal. We ended up making a family trip out of it. Sunday night was a concert. I knew she loved her, so I sprung extra for VIP tickets, whatever that was. It's at the Palace Theater, somewhat similar to the Uptown Theater. Beautiful theater,
nice.
Right? The whole floor is GA, standing room only. Julia is not very enthusiastic about many things. And then when we start talking about stuff, like the day before the concert, when we get to Minnesota, I want to get there, 4 hours before the concert starts and stand in line because I want to be front row and I want to stand. I go, what? What are we? I go, that's right. We're going to be standing, aren't we? And all these things, I wasn't,
Be on my feet for 6 hours.
I wasn't mindful of. And so, I told her, hey, babe, we got. I think VIP gets to go in 15 minutes earlier than everybody else. I said, we'll get a good spot. So anyway, we get there, and because of, thankfully I could get these tickets. There was only, 10 people ahead of us. And you also get first crack. Thankfully, first crack at the merch table.
Yeah. They do you that honor, huh?
Yeah. We got it, and they give us a canvas bag and
there you go.
a Faye Webster lint roller, which is a unique, I don't know.
comes in handy.
The whole tour is undressed at the symphony, and the stage was like a laundromat. It was really cool.
Okay, I like that.
And so we get in there, and I go get the shirts, and I run to the merch table. She runs up there, and we are at front center, up against the rail.
Nice.
Right? Up against the rail. And there's only about 30 people this time. Then they let everyone else in, and then pretty soon it's my fat ass surrounded by 1,000, however many are on that floor, all pressed up against me.
Oh, my God.
And it's going to be like that because we got the doors open at 6:30, 7:30, 8:30. It's going to be like that for at least 4 hours.
And is it largely the same age group of people as Julia?
In that range from Julia to Phil or so.
Okay.
I counted maybe about 7 or 8 parents.
High school to college age crowd.
Yeah.
And they're
predominantly girls.
And anytime Faye Webster plays a song that everyone likes, they rush the stage a little bit more.
It wasn't so bad, but everyone sang along.
Yeah.
And there was a really good singer named Benet that opened up.
Okay.
But there would be no going to the bathroom. There would be no getting a drink. There would be no turning around. There would be no moving, really. Like me holding a bag full of merch next to Julia, kind of, making sure she's all right. Kind of like this, up against the rail,
hunched forward.
Hunched a little bit, and just, and it was awesome. But I was the whole time like,
a toll on you.
This is gonna be bad tomorrow. This is gonna be bad tomorrow.
Says, "Oh my God."
I made it through. And then we had dinner with my my long lost friend Kevin, who some people may remember as WWF superstar Nails. I hadn't seen him in 26 years. And that was one of the best friends I ever had as a young man. And we had dinner at Mancini's in St. Paul, which is the best steak I've ever had in my life.
Really?
And that was backed up again this week. Unbelievable place. Old school. We talked for 3 hours. And shockingly, just about everything. And I had got a kick out. Selena was asking him, what was I like when I was 12? And I was listening to him kind of. But it was interesting to hear that. How he described me.
Yeah.
Very complimentary. So that was awesome. That was great. We called my dad because my dad's great friends with him, and they haven't seen each other since he went and visited my dad when he was staying in Rochester, Minnesota, which was like 35 years ago. So, and we were such great friends back in the day. So it was great. We reconnected. We're gonna keep talking. We're not gonna. Sometimes you have these great friends, and then life gets in the way. And And so I'm going to reconnect him and my dad. We're going to go back up there at some point. Took the tour of Paisley Park. I thought about you many times.
Man,
let me tell you something. If you love Prince, you got to go. You got to go to this deal.
I've been to First Ave, but I've never been to Paisley Park.
It's a different deal.
Yeah.
And they have you put your phones in those pouches, so and you can't chew gum, you can't have mints, you can't, just all these rules and everything, because they said this is pretty much the way Prince left it when he died. And we want to leave it this way for generations to come, for Prince fans. And then they pointed us out like you're bringing your kids here because they love Prince. Yep, that's what we listen to all the way up here from Kansas City. Let's go.
Yeah.
And it was magnificent. There's 3 levels of tours. We took the mid-tier, but it was. If you look, it's very simple. If you're not a Prince fan, don't go.
Right.
You will not like it. If you love Prince, everything is awesome.
Yeah.
You get to go in his office. You get to see where he would sit and have after-hour parties and watch basketball and make food for his friends. You get to see the different studios where he recorded different music. You got to see the sound stage where he did Graffiti Bridge and would do concerts, and the nightclub, and a bunch of his outfits, and they have a Purple Rain room where all these artifacts from the movie, and just it blows your mind. It was awesome, and especially like if you love music and just understand the level of genius he was as a musician, and the different instruments, I could talk about it all day. That's for sure.
That's a great sweatshirt. That's a great That's a great sweatshirt. Yeah.
And that was great. And then the Mall of America almost killed me. That's what got me. That's what got me. You know, let's do the log shoot. Okay.
When I saw that picture, Lebo's response was pretty much just like taking the words right out of my mouth. I don't think you should be doing that.
No,
but
I shouldn't have done the roller coaster. I should.
You did the roller coaster too?
That, yeah.
Yeah.
No, the log shoot was much like the Viking Voyager at Worlds of Fun. I love that.
Okay.
Get splashed.
Yeah.
2 big hills though.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have done the roller coaster.
You get to walk around with your drawers all soaking the rest of the
roller
day.
coaster was a
big mistake.
Terrible decision.
Yeah.
And I knew it. Because they had trouble getting me in the thing, and they locked me in there like it was in a vice grip. I said, "This is a bad deal.
Yeah,
this is a bad." It wasn't even one of the crazy ones.
Yeah,
I said, "This is a bad decision."
Yeah.
Before it, during it, right after it. Then we did a Ferris wheel. What else did we do? We did the Flyover America, where it's like the.
Oh, that thing is awesome.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
And
yeah.
It feels like you're flying over the ocean, and you feel the mist.
Like
and
a 4D.
Wind.
Yeah.
That was great.
Mm-hmm.
Then we did Flyover America, and we did Flyover Africa. That was awesome.
Oh wow.
And then fly over my credit cards and the rest of the deal.
Fly away money.
Yeah. I mean.
Well, there's different kinds of vacations, right? There's the leisure vacation. Some people, they'll go sit on the beach and just relax and charge their batteries for a week. And then there's the tourism type vacation where you're going. You're doing something every day. Your day's
awesome.
full, and but it is kind of, you come back and you're kind of like, man, I could use a couple days off after
no
that.
kidding. And so then on the way back home, I got sick, and so I've been pretty much in bed since then. Something knocked me on my ass. Then just take your pick. Whenever I was surrounded by thousands of people at some point, pick one of the events I went to. Then and so I'm just now coming out of it, and so I was so glad that Nate was available to come in here today to help me.
Well, people don't know is I sent you a text message yesterday during the day because I wasn't sure what my work schedule was going to be this week. And Jake had said to me on Friday, hey, we could use you Monday if, Lebo's out of town. So let me know when you find out. And I found out late Saturday night.
You sent a text Sunday morning that never went.
Yeah, and then I was like, God, those guys never responded. Maybe they don't want me to come in.
I would have.
I just figured you're like, I'm not going to let them know I'm busy. I was like, okay. I almost sent you a text yesterday.
All I've eaten the last 3 days are these, and you can see it again.
Oh, nice.
Little instant mashed potatoes. These are lifesavers.
That you and I have the same craving when we feel sick. We found out.
This is all
taters?
Yeah.
Well, and then from a certain restaurant, there's taters and chicken tenders that we always end up getting.
That's right.
It's the only time I ever get them. But yeah. So then I looked at my phone last night. I was getting ready. I'm like, they never got back to me. I don't know if they want me or not. And then I looked, and it was like that little red alert on your text message. It says that did not go through.
Exclamation point.
I'm like, well, this is weird. 10 o'clock, I'm going to let these guys know I'm available.
And then even driving back, we stopped in Clear Lake, Iowa, and visited the memorial at the crash site of Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, and the Big Bopper, and that was incredible. Also,
for those that don't know that, that's the obviously
the day the music died.
The day the music died from the song was that Not Don Henley.
Go on.
Hang on, I know this one.
The park across the street from the memorial is named for him.
You got the first name right.
Dan Fogelberg.
No.
Nope.
Come on.
Don?
Bakery. Think of a bakery.
Yeah.
Don. I'm thinking it's like Don.
Think of a Kansas City bakery.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Don McClain.
Okay.
Hey!
That was awesome, too, if you ever get a chance to stop there. Beautiful memorial. One thing I did get a chance to is watch a lot of the Olympics.
Oh man, I love the Olympics
I watched the Chiefs preseason game. We're gonna talk a lot about that. Watching Royals baseball.
I think I watched more Olympics this cycle than I have in my entire life.
We are prisoners of the moment, recency bias, whatever. But there's so many things going on in the Olympics. It's impossible to watch them all live.
Mm-hmm.
That's my only issue because for me to fully enjoy and embrace a moment, I have to see it live. Because if you know what happened, it just takes away from it.
Yes.
It's still good, but for me, I have if I experience something live and it's great, it's even better, right?
Yeah.
Than reading about it or going back and watching it.
Yes.
So I was glad that I experienced Steph Curry live.
Yeah.
I was watching that when it happened. And I have the tendency just to scream or shout. And I was not feeling well. And, of course, and here he goes. You've heard this. Stop me, you've heard this before. I scream, and Susan runs in there to see what's wrong. I said, Steph Curry. Dude. Those shots that he hit, those threes, that last three that was unbelievable, but those 4 threes that he hit in a row in the 2-minute span to put the team on his back and beat France in the gold medal game, and knowing that was his one crack at getting the gold medal, and it was almost like a movie. Well, okay, this guy's trying to establish himself as the greatest shooter of all time, or at least of his era. And he has this one thing that he wanted to accomplish that he hasn't been able to, and that's win a gold medal. And how's he going to do it? Is he just going to go along for the ride, or is he going to be a big part of it? How can this add to his already outstanding legacy? And it did. It did add to his outstanding legacy. Oh, my God. Those 4 threes and then that last one, well, I still don't. I mean, you've got NBA players losing their minds at courtside that are acting like kids watching this guy play. And he looks up to the crowd and says, night, night. That was one of the most unbelievable basketball moments that I've ever seen. That may sound stupid or may sound crazy, but it was.
Well,
it was like, because that when he took that last one, I go, no.
It's a heat check. That's like
way.
It's a heat check. Oh, he's feeling it. Got a little.
Because he didn't need it's almost like he just hot potato out of his hand.
Yeah.
So I had to get that off my chest.
The Olympics, I didn't get to watch that game live. I watched the game against Serbia live, and that was an incredible event.
That was pretty
Because,
good.
I mean, they were down 17 in the second half. I don't know what the deficit was, but you literally think, and when you don't know the outcome, you're like, they might lose this game.
Were you watching Steph live?
Oh, yeah. I think the reason I enjoyed the Olympics so much this year is the gold zone. I don't know if you guys.
Oh, yeah.
It was
the greatest sportscaster in the world,
Right.
Scott
it was amazing.
Hansen,
So,
doing that.
and then you could, and then it gave you an option when they went to something live, you just click the button and it takes you to the live event.
You know what I appreciated? I was locked in on the men's gold medal game and the women's gold medal game because they were both great games. And that women's gold medal game against France was incredible.
Wow. Yeah, they were.
The French gave them all they wanted.
It was not a pretty game, but it was a great game to watch.
It gave them all. If France would have stopped shooting threes in the final 3 or 4 minutes, every time they get close, they'd fire up an ill-advised three, they might have won that game. That was an incredible game. I want to mention also the big news I'm rusty, people. Hang with me. Out of the game on Saturday with the Chiefs, Hollywood Brown.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have Aaron Borgman on at 7 o'clock. There's no sense in me talking about his injury or Nate. Jake will tell you that, he has some water that could heal his injury. That's not true.
Probably.
Aaron Borgman is the guy that you want to talk to, and he is our guy for New Day with SSJ for this football season. He is going to be our injury expert, and he was on the NFL sidelines for 12 years with the Eagles and with the Chiefs, and he wrote a lengthy article about this very injury in 2019 when it happened to Tyreek Hill. He wrote it for Arrowhead Pride. And so this guy knows all about this injury. Aaron Borgman is an expert when it comes to injuries like this, and he's going to tell us exactly what happened and exactly what to expect. 7 a.m. if you want to hear someone that knows exactly what he's talking about, instead of me mumbling and fumbling about it. Aaron Borgman on Hollywood Brown at 7 a.m. Then we'll get into everything else about the game with Pete Sweeney at 7:30. Scott Carroll will talk baseball with us at 8 o'clock. Bill Moss, 9:05, will talk football. We got all that and more. Nate Bukaty's here. Jake Gutierrez is here. I'm sweating profusely for some reason, even though it's 10 degrees in here. I don't know what's going on, but I have a Prince sweatshirt on, and I'm very happy with that. We'll take a break back after this on New Day with SSJ on Sports Radio 810 WHP. Welcome back to New Day with SSJ on Sports Radio 810 WHB. And right now, we have our friend Catherine Tappan joining us. And Catherine, I just saw your tweet thanking the crew for 19 consecutive shows together, 155 hours of television produced. Unbelievable. And it's over. And so how do you feel now that typing all those numbers that what you just went through, that was awesome.
Yeah. Well, good to be with you, Stephen. I don't feel like it's over, to be honest with you. I mean, my body clock went off at 5 a.m. like it's been going off for 19 days and 20 days or so. I told my producers yesterday, like, are you all right if I give you a call at 6:30 to go over the rundown and how we're going to open the show? And they started laughing. Yeah, it's definitely bittersweet because, yesterday we were all in the studio together. And, when we started these things, there was, I mentioned it on the call a couple weeks ago with you guys that there were, 1,000 people running around the studios in Stamford. And bit by bit, as the weekend closed yesterday and events started wrapping up and people had flights home, by yesterday afternoon, it was dead. And it was, they were starting to clean things up and take down sets, and it just felt like, gosh, this whole production just comes to an end. And it is bittersweet because you look forward to the end and getting back with your families and getting back on your routine and to your homes and everything. But, you miss the friendships you've made and the crew and the faces you see every single day, all day long. So, but it was quite a run. The games were just a spectacular success, and I think, the appetite is there. I know everyone's now looking forward to Milan in 2 years and then LA right after that. So I think just the way we were able to bring everybody together and the country and people were watching and the numbers proved that. And it was just pure joy, I felt. And, in victory and defeat, we saw so many different storylines, and it just brought smiles on people's faces.
Okay, so last time you were on the show, we talked about the men's basketball team, and we decided that the reason why we should be excited to watch them was Steph Curry going for his first gold medal.
What did I tell you?
Oh my God! And so that was one of the things I led the show with, because that was that stretch, that 2 minutes where he hit the 4 threes. That's one of the greatest moments that I can remember watching basketball at any level. That was. I know we become prisoners of the moment, but still, like, that last shot, I'm like, no way. There's no way. And then, of course, it goes in. I'm just curious. Like, I mean, people that cover all these great athletes and watch sports all the time, other athletes were astonished by that performance. That was one of the signature moments of the Olympics, right?
Oh, no doubt. And I think, that Team USA, I think they're, it almost felt like their gold medal game was the game against Serbia because of the way, we were all watching that game thinking, oh my gosh, this team's going to be knocked out. It was a very dominating first half by Serbia. And then, and then Steph shows up, and I love what one of his teammates said. It was like, oh, Steph decided to come to Paris yesterday or something like that. Because, the final 2 games were just unbelievable for him. But that, there are very few athletes that can perform like that on that stage. And, Steph's won championships. He's won the NBA MVP, but he's just an elite athlete, and you can step up like that and deliver shots like that where your jaw is literally dropped. I mean, we see it with Patrick Mahomes. You see it with, the greats to do it, Tom Brady. And I just think there's, Tiger Woods in his day when he could, just absolutely lock in and deliver. I guess you could probably say it about Scottie Scheffler right now, what he's been doing. But it's unbelievable when you watch it because it's there. And, all of Steph's teammates and everybody throughout the tournament was saying, oh, wait till Steph gets going, wait till Steph gets going. It's like you knew it was coming. It was just a matter of when. And that's what he does. And he's never out of it. He's always a dangerous threat. And he's a gamer, and he's a champion. He wins championships and can single-handedly will the team to a championship, or gold medal, whatever it might be. And again, very, very, very few athletes can elevate to that level and actually deliver. And he is one of them. And it was an unbelievable performance. I thought, I liked that Team USA faced some adversity along the way because, it's nice to see the other countries putting up a fight. It's nice to see, you roll in all these superstar NBA players that, hey, there's other countries that can contend with that. Like, that's what's so great about these games. It's any given day. And, France being the home team, the crowd was in it, and it was just an amazing atmosphere as well. So I liked that, those last two teams gave them a real run for their money, and ultimately the United States won the gold, which is great for all of us here, but it's also great for France to take home the silver and, to have the joy of that as well. I mean, all these medals are so hard to accomplish that you see the smiles on faces even when Serbia stepped on the podium to win the bronze. It was pure joy from them. They were celebrating as much as they would as if they won the gold. It means so much to these countries.
Catherine, what you said about the other nations being, getting so much better and being such like good competition for the United States in basketball, I totally resonate with, and I'm a big soccer fan, so I was locked into the U.S. women's soccer, and our mutual friend Lori Lindsay and you guys were doing the show. I was really enjoying watching all your coverage of that. But the same kind of narrative, I guess, about the fact that like this isn't the same level of competition across the world that the U.S. women would maybe have faced in the past. Everybody keeps getting better everywhere else in the world in women's soccer, and yet they went out there and they had to dig really, really deep to win all their games to win that gold medal. And I'm just curious kind of what your thoughts were on watching that journey, especially to me, like watching those three young forwards and then Naomi Girma, the defender, who to me is like the best defender in the world, for them to do like basically with no subs, playing the whole way, exhausted to win it. What stood out to you the most about them?
I mean, I guess what you just said stood out to me. I mean, I think that, we didn't know what this team was all about. This was a whole new cast. It was a new coach with Emma Hayes. It was fresh new faces. Retired are the Carly Lloyds and the Megan Rapinos, and then Alex Morgan doesn't get selected for the team, and that was a bit surprising. But I asked Lori Lindsay about that off camera, and she said it's not too surprising, but I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see her back. We might see her back for the World Cup. You never know, and they can select more players. But so here we are. We've got these new faces we have to learn, and boy, did they help us learn who they were, because they just delivered, and they were so good. And I think that, to your point, the way they won the games with no substitutions, they were so conditioned. And Emma Hayes took over this team in June. She didn't have a lot of time to figure out her own players, let alone, how they work together and how they're going to do this on the global scale. But she knew she had a way to coach, and her best way to coach is, you're going to go out there and play, and I'm not going to substitute you, and you're going to figure this out. And she was very adamant about that. These are my 11, and I'm going with it. And so they knew that, and that there was so much young energy on that team with, Trinity Rodman and Swanson and Sophia Smith. And it was just, and to your point with Naomi Girma, my God, she is, I mean, you can't get a ball past her. She's unbelievable. So, but then they played those last two games with extra time and even the gold medal game. And it's just the amount of running and, conditioning you need to be in such good shape to be able to perform those last three games with extra time, and they did it. It's just, I love how they won. I love the way they grinded it out. I love the way, when players got hurt, they just found a way to battle through. We saw a couple of them go down at various points during the games, and now we know who they are. It's like, okay, here we are. We're here to stay, and the World Cup is right around the corner. These players are all going to be probably a part of that, and they've become household names, and I think that's great, because for a couple years, as we know, the United States women's soccer team, they won, I think it was the bronze in Tokyo, and it hasn't been a gold medal performance since 2012 in London. Now this country has a lot to look forward to with this young team. So much talent. They're going to go back, and they're going to have time now to prepare, and that World Cup is going to be so exciting.
All right, so Catherine, this is an impossible question to answer, and there's no wrong answer. There's no right answer. It's everyone's opinion. It's like, for me, my two favorite moments are probably, Steph Curry, but also Quincy Hall when he won the 400, because he's a Kansas City guy, and we were all rooting for him. And the way he won in comeback fashion, that was unbelievable. And, and representing KC on that level was just awesome to watch him win the gold. And everyone loved the 100. But are there maybe a couple of moments that stood out to you that were your favorite moments from these Olympics?
Well, gosh, it's so hard to select one. Yesterday on the show, I gave my top 5, and it was hard to even do that. But I would definitely put the United States women's rugby team up there. Again, another team with rugby sevens that was really unknown, and they had this superstar TikToker who's the leader of their team, Alona Mar. We saw Jason Kelsey and his wife, go out there and support this team, and I think that obviously heightens their their faces and to know who they were. Seems like anything Jason and Travis talk about becomes something popular. So I loved that, though. I loved the support they were getting, and then ultimately, they made it to the bronze medal match. And they had a humongous comeback from behind. And that, to me, is one of those moments in the Olympics that means so much because it tells you what the future of the sport is going to do in America now, right? Like, it's very popular worldwide, and it's the same teams that win it every year. You've got the Brazils, you've got the Australians, but now you've got the United States in the mix. And young girls are watching that game and thinking, oh, rugby, like, that's a cool sport. I want to play. And it's a tremendous sport. It takes a lot. I mean, it's football and soccer and everything else combined. These women are in such great shape, and it's such a great team sport. So I loved what the U.S. women were able to do. Their first Olympic medal. They take home the bronze in thrilling fashion. That was great. Obviously, I loved the Trinity Rodman, extra time and stoppage time goal that she delivered against Japan to help move the United States along in their tournament. But yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of the women's sport, so I loved watching that. There was a canoe kayaker, Evie Liebfars, who I just enjoyed watching her story, and she got a medal. She's from North Carolina, and just stuff like that. That's what I take away from these people, these athletes that train so many years. Sometimes 4 years, sometimes 12 years. You saw the men's water polo team for the United States take home a medal yesterday, and they said this isn't the last 4 years. This is the last 12 years of our life. I remember being in the pool when I was 4 years old with my dad, and we just saw these stories and heard their interviews after they won a medal, and it's just so cool. And these are the stories that we love hearing. I mean, you kind of expect the U.S. to win gold in men's and women's basketball, but the way they won it was great. So, but yeah, I would probably take away the women's rugby and women's soccer and some of the events that we're not used to watching, like canoe kayak and cheering those athletes on as well.
One of the ones, all those ones you just mentioned, that rugby moment, the whatever you call it, the touchdown for the long run on the comeback was one of the coolest events I could remember. The try, thank you, Jake. But also, for me, I'm curious where you would put the performance of Simone Biles, because I feel like she, a lot of people had opinions about her after she had the twisties last time around, and then she came out. To me, like, I always love seeing athletes overcoming adversity, and that adversity, plus then she injures herself at the beginning of the competition and goes out, to me, like, and does things that no human on earth could even try, let alone do. Where would you put her performance? Yeah, I mean, right at the top, no doubt. I mean, that's to your point, these comeback stories, and I know they kept calling it the redemption tour, but it's more than that. Yeah. I mean, she demonstrated, what it takes to have the mental strength to do that. And I think, and she has been very vocal in explaining that it's not easy mentally. I mean, it's a major challenge, and just the scrutiny and the conflict around U.S. gymnastics and all these stories we hear, and the drama and the highs and the lows. And it's a sport that we're constantly hearing about. And when we're hearing about it now with Jordan Childs and the bronze medal and what's going to happen, does she have to give it back and all this? And, it just takes away from the sport in a way of like what these athletes are actually physically doing. And Simone demonstrated, and actually all those women, Suni Lee, you put them all up there, but obviously Simone right at the top, and how hard it is to succeed at that level, at that sport. And then when you fall, how hard it is to come back. And she did it. And that's just unbelievable. And she's, one of the greatest Olympians of all time. She proved in Paris that she's back. She's ready to go. I mean, I'm curious to see what she does. If she's going to participate in LA, that would be great. But, 4 years of that sport, 4 more years, it's grueling, it's hard. And, it's not easy to get back to the top, and she's proven that she can do it. So, that's an unbelievable story, and that is a story that will be told for a long, long time. I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen her documentary. I strongly encourage it. It's a story of mental strength and comeback, and how she did it, and other athletes are referencing it. Lydia Ko and the LPGA Tour, who went out and won gold on Saturday, and put herself in the Hall of Fame with the extra point she needed with that gold medal. She said in her post-game remarks, their post-match remarks, that she watched the Simone Biles documentary the night before her final round,
and wrote down some quotes in her yardage book to make sure she reminded herself while she was in the moment in that final round trying to win gold, certain quotes that Simone gave that really resonated with her. So that just tells you how hard it is when other athletes are trying to mimic what Simone does mentally to prepare herself. It kind of gives you an idea of how difficult that is, what she achieved.
You know, and we didn't even mention Jake's favorite Olympian from these Olympics, Australian breakdancer Ray Gunn, who he says is maybe the greatest performance he's seen in his life. And so maybe next time we can talk about her, because for whatever that was, I can't stop watching it. And isn't that the most important thing, that it was
memorable?
Interesting? Yeah, right. I'll never forget it. And also, and my wife screamed because for some reason Tom Cruise became part of the Olympics, and that was very interesting as well. And then he was on a motorcycle, and then ended up somewhere in the desert. Hey, Catherine, hopefully you get some rest now. You deserve a medal for all of your fine work over the past 3 weeks, and we hope to talk to you again real soon.
Thank you. Appreciate that, you guys. Have a great week. Take care.
You do the same thing. You see, it turned into a Mission Impossible movie. Did you like that? Did you watch that, Jake?
Yes.
Did you know what the hell was going on?
Not really.
I thought it was having a fever dream. Didn't he rappel down from the stop of the stadium? And he had the flag, and then he got on a motorcycle, then he's on the streets of Paris, and then he's in a plane. Did you see all this?
Yeah, passing the torch.
Yeah, but then he jumped out of the plane, and then
he does all his own stunts.
I know, but did you anticipate all of that?
No, I did not.
And then he's hanging from the Hollywood sign, putting up the. Did you see this?
I saw some of it. He was all over.
You know all of that?
No, I didn't see. I didn't watch the closing
hanging
ceremonies.
from the Hollywood sign.
I was locked
putting
in
up the
yesterday.
I wondered because he was at the.
He looks like he doesn't believe it.
No, I believe
anything
you.
I just said.
Well, I figured something was up because they
lost.
wouldn't stop showing him at the women's soccer final.
match, yeah.
This guy,
And I was like, he must be up to
rappelled
something,
from the
you know?
top.
Yeah.
Got on a
Ethan
motorcycle,
Hunt style.
went through the streets of Paris, and then ended up in a plane, and then
back over.
He didn't get in that river, did he?
I don't know.
Those poor swimmers that got in the river.
Poo-poo river.
The poo-poo river.
Equali River. I don't know. Well, all I know is
That's
it
the
turned
stunt.
into a
That's
movie.
the
It
stunt. We
was
don't
great.
want Tom to do that. I don't know. Maybe he's immune to all that. I mean, he seems to be reverse aging. So
I thought it was just, hey, he was going to make an appearance.
Yeah,
all
be
of a
like,
sudden.
hey, we're gonna pass this. He's like, nope.
Hell, no. Now he's hanging from the
that's not
Hollywood
how Tom
sign.
Cruise rolls.
Yeah, he changed the O's in the Hollywood to the Olympic.
Oh, I
rings.
get it.
He was like,
Yeah.
he was doing it. He did it himself.
I thought the opening ceremonies were
Isn't it
cool,
easy?
and I'm guessing but weird but cool. But then everybody got all.
Lebo loved it. Did you see the picture in his office? Have you seen that? I'll show it to you.
I thought that was a
I would say
Photoshop.
the closing ceremonies were much better than the opening ceremony.
I enjoyed the opening ceremonies.
I mean,
too,
you didn't see the closing ceremony?
No, I didn't watch.
I can't believe it because I thought it. Why was I thinking of you? You know who did it? Who was performing?
Phoenix.
Vampire Weekend.
No way.
Yeah.
We just saw them in town.
Did they not?
A couple weeks ago.
Phoenix was.
But you didn't see Vampire Weekend?
Were they performed too?
Yeah. I thought you were locked in.
I was.
No, apparently you were not. Because Jimmy Fallon
love
goes, "That's
those guys.
Vampire Weekend. They were great on Saturday Night Live." And here's
they
a
talked
song.
about the yes. Okay, yeah.
We just saw them at Starlight like 2 weeks ago.
That's why I know because that's why I go, look, Nate just saw them, and
Yeah.
now they're here. They are.
Oh man, I have to go back and watch that.
They did one of the songs that you play on the show all the time.
Cousins. No, A-Punk.
A-Punk.
I don't know.
Yeah. Hey.
I don't know the name of it, but if you played it, I know it. We'll take a break. Back after this on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
is presented by Walker Medical Linen Services, locally owned and operated. HLAC certified to the highest medical laundry standards. Walker has partnerships with hospitals, surgery